This is the part 4 of digging every corner of Konoha. Hope you like this video guys, enjoy. Chapter 31. Chapter 31. Hot-blooded people are the most troublesome. Don't worry about those history. Even if Otsutsuki Kaguya can run out, isn't there still me? I haven't been afraid of anyone in the fight. Asahi said confidently. Of course, he can kill these guys, but he is still incapable of using weird tricks like those guys. For example, Otsutsuki Kaguya's armor Nomineka. Once pulled in, he might be trapped in it to death, so he still hoped that after mastering the power of the sunshine, he would be able to draw a good ability with a higher degree of elusiveness. His fighting power is unparalleled, but his elusiveness is almost zero. Sunshine can't do something like moving through space or something, but that is still in the future. Asahi doesn't believe that in the next 10 years or so, he still hasn't completely mastered the power of sunshine. In addition, although the two people on the moon were a little weaker, they seemed to have given him 1% of the progress because of the huge Tensagon, so now, his mastery is at 8%. As long as there are enough strong enemies to help him, he can quickly reach the peak, thereby drawing new power. Yes, you brat is still here. And if you are not an opponent, no matter how preparation we make, it will still be of no use. Onaki nodded in agreement. Asahi was the strongest among them, so if Asahi can't do anything about it, they can just give up. Then, I will leave first. As for the caged bird, let some people to learn it. I need to do experiments, and let people study the way to remove caged bird. Asahi reminded Onaki, as this is the key to the next step of their digging plan. Caged bird. Are you going to target the Hyuga clan? Tsunade was stunned for a moment. He wanted to study caged bird, and also study the method of removing the seal. This must be done for the Hyuga clan. That's right, is there a problem? Didn't we poach you Senju clan too? We are adhering to the philosophy of finding a way to dig talents. Since Konoha doesn't cherish them, then we can help them. It's fine to dig them. It's not a big deal, okay? Asahi said calmly. But when she heard Asahi's words, Tsunade realized that she is no longer Konoha's people. She likes Konoha, but only for Konoha controlled by her grandfather and granduncle. After all, what is the difference between the current Konoha and trash? If Asahi can dig these people into Iwagakure, Tsunade will agree happily. The first reason is that there is no benefit for these clans to stay in Konoha, and the other reason is that it is not easy to find some existences in the same position as the Senju clan. Although they are considered to have joined Iwagakure, no matter what the reasons, they are still traitors to Konoha. So, if there are other clans who can come and accompany the Senju clan, it is naturally good. This is the typical mentality of pulling people into the sea. I have fallen into it myself, but I can't fall into it alone, so I have to pull a few others with me. Right now, Tsunade has such a mentality. I understand, then, if you need my help, just speak up. I'm also Iwagakure's people now. Tsunade has completely taken the role of Iwagakure's people, so she doesn't care what identity she used to have. Iwagakure trusts her very much, and she knows a lot of their secrets, so there's nothing to be dissatisfied with. Then, thank you very much, I will leave the village to you. I will go to the battlefield first. After Asahi finished speaking, he left without any intention of staying. He just came back to deliver something. In fact, Asahi wanted to go to Kirigakure to see if he can get some good things from Kirigakure like those legendary ninja swords, and people like Terumimai. Moreover, Madara and Obito will give him a big assist. Maybe he can take advantage of this assist, and dig a lot of people from Kirigakure. Even if he can't dig them, he can still get some benefits at that time. After leaving Iwagakure, Asahi continued on his way, flying on the small sun, which was the fastest way of travel. But in the next few days, when passing through the land of fire, Asahi met a very surprising thing. Is it a coincidence that I came too early? I unexpectedly encounter something like this. Asahi's eyes lit up at this moment. At this moment, he saw that several Konoha's Knin being chased by a group of people. This group of people is naturally the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, and the people being chased are also Guy and his teammates. This is really a coincidence. Of course, what Asahi cares about is their ninja swords, not digging Guy. In fact, it would be good if he can dig Guy, but the probability of such thing happening is almost zero. After all, Guy and his dad, Might Dewey, are a solid Konoha's diehard. Asahi is not afraid if the other party is smart, because it's easier to dig smart people as they knew which choices is the best for them. However, the people that Asahi felt the most headache are those so-called hot-blooded people. Naruto, Guy, Dewey and Lee are simply impossible to be dug up. He is most afraid of encountering this kind of hot-blooded fool with a lack of brain in his head, as the possibility of digging them away is almost zero. But right now, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist are here anyway, and their swords will be useful for him. As for Guy's last kick, Asahi is not really afraid. It may be hard for him to deal with elusive techniques, but he is the best at dealing with people like Guy. In terms of recklessness, no one in this world can be as reckless as Asahi. Almost without thinking, Asahi directly fell from the sky, landing in the middle of both sides. Who is it? Konoha's reinforcements. Because of Asahi's sudden appearance, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist were taken aback, and Guy and the others also stopped. You don't know me. Then, you should have heard my name is Asahi from Iwagakure. Asahi smiled as he spoke, but these words made everyone on both sides stunned. Asahi. The Asahi that Kumogakure did not dare to resist even if he's alone. The 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist have naturally heard of Asahi's name. After all, Asahi's name has spread throughout the Shinobi world. At this moment, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist were a little scared. If the 7 of them work together, they can indeed win against Kid-level powerhouse, and they might even kill the opponent. However, the person in front of them right now is someone who killed the Sundame Raikage and has the power to overwhelm the Kumogakure's army alone. How terrifying his strength is. On the contrary, unlike their fear, Guy and his teammates behind in the back were pleasantly surprised, because Iwagakure is now their allies, so they are more relaxed than those 7. After all, a rescuer finally arrived. Although he's not someone from their village, but he's still their ally. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugui. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Poor Guy. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 32, Chapter 32 Traitorous Sword. Asa. Asahi-senpai, please be careful, all 7 of them are very powerful. Before Asahi started, Guy at the back couldn't help but yelled. These words made Asahi, the 7 people on the opposite side, and his teammates around him stunned. At this moment, everyone basically has their own thoughts. Guy's teammates thought, what kind of stupid thing this guy is thinking. Even at this time, he still has the thought to remind others to be careful. But they didn't even dare to say anything. The thoughts of the 7 people were more straightforward. Are you sure you are reminding the right person? He's the one who defeated Kumogakure's army all by himself. We're the one who should be careful. As for Asahi, he was a little amused. Guy is older than him, and even though he is an ally, Guy is unexpectedly pure and simple. If he was replaced with the experts from Konoha, they might hope that Asahi will die together with the enemy here. Well, it is actually a little weird for you to call me senpai, but you should remind them as they are the one who should really be careful. In fact, it's useless to remind them. Before the words fell, the ground suddenly shattered, and Asahi had already appeared in front of the person closest to him. This person is Akibai no Jinin, a very strange name. The sword in his hand is called Kabutawari, quite a weird weapon. Seeing Asahi suddenly appear in front of him, Jinin was taken aback for a moment, and then the giant axe in his hand slashed over subconsciously, but Asahi easily pinched it directly between his fingers. To be honest, although some of these ninja swords are useful, this one is a bit too tasteless. Asahi looked at this thing speechlessly. The special thing about this sword is that it slashed with an axe, and then you can use the hammer at the back to hit the back of the axe to achieve the effect of increasing the attack power, but in Asahi's view, it is simply too tasteless. Jinin, who had come to his senses, looked at this scene in horror, and then he slammed behind the giant axe with the hammer on the back, but what horrified him was that the increasing attack power that would usually cut off enemy's sword directly was unable to break through the constraints of Asahi's fingers at all. On the contrary, his hands were numb due to the shock from the hammer. What are you still looking at? The horrified Jinin shouted, and the other 6 came back to their senses. The swords in their hands all slashed towards Asahi. Lightning, explosion, etc. all hit Asahi's body. Boom! The 7 people attacked together, causing a huge explosion. No matter how strong he is, he will definitely be seriously injured in the face of the attacks of those 7 people. Whether it was Guy or his teammates, they all watched this scene with horror. They saw with their own eyes that these attacks really slashed at Asahi's body without any defense. TSK, it seems that your strength is not enough, you can't even break through my defenses. What are you fighting against me for? Also, my clothes are very expensive. Asahi directly opened his mouth and blew the smoke away. When the 7 people saw this scene, they were all horrified. The legendary 7 ninja swords, except for the Kabutowarai, which were grabbed by Asahi's fingers, couldn't break Asahi's defense at all. At best, they can only destroy his clothes, and the clothes on Asahi's body were smashed and tattered by the explosion, but his body was not injured at all. Fake. It must be a dream, why can't we cut his body? The 7 stared wide-eyed at this scene in disbelief. Impossible. My same harder can absorb chakra. Even Reikage cannot just rely on his flesh to resist my attack without using chakra. Compared with the others, the most frightened at this moment is undoubtedly Tsukazan Fuguki. As he said, the physique of Naruto World, except for some special people, is actually very weak. The reason why it looks very strong is because of chakra. Reikage also relies on the lightning release chakra mode, which was called the ultimate defense, but once the defense from chakra disappeared, his defense will only be a little stronger than the average powerhouse at most. As for same harder, this sword can absorb chakra. Once their chakra is gone, everyone is the same. Although it can't be said that everyone is standing on the same starting line, it is close to it. But now, this trick is useless against Asahi. This also means that Asahi's physical defense is enough to defend against all ninja swords attacks. My chakra was directly absorbed by this thing, after all, I only have such a small amount of chakra. Asahi is also quite helpless about this. Even Hakaibe's chakra wasn't able to hold on after being absorbed by same harder several times, let alone the trashy amount Asahi has. He estimated that same harder is very puzzled why the absorbed chakra is too little. Asahi's chakra was taken out directly, but he still has sunshine. Everyone, you can leave this place, but before that, leave those weapons behind. Asahi's hands turned into after images, and after taking away their weapons at an extremely strange speed, he punched the 7 people one by one, and blew them into the air. The 7 people flew away in several directions, leaving a few huge plow marks on the ground. Seeing such a scene, Asahi couldn't help but scratched his head. He didn't expect the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist to be so weak. However, these people were not dead yet, as they all have strong physique, however, they were still seriously injured and should be almost dead. Same harder, give me back my chakra, or I will destroy you. Asahi knocked same harder with his hand, and said some threatening words. Seeing this, the Knin behind him almost spurted out a mouthful of blood, he even threatened a sword and asked it to return his chakra. Does he think that sword is alive? They were madly complaining in their hearts, but in the next second, they discovered that same harder really moved, and then it returned Asahi's chakra very obediently, which refreshed their 3 views. In this regard, Asahi is also amused. This sword same harder is famous for being a traitorous sword. It has no morals. It will follow whoever has better chakra, who is stronger, and whose chakra is more in line with his taste. This guy even betrayed Kai's aim when he fought against Killer Bee. Why? It's just because Hakaibe's chakra is more delicious. And now, it knows how to pay attention to the situation. As Fuguki has been defeated, it has no dignity to speak of, so it decisively recognizes me as his new master. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugui. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 33, Chapter 33 Dewey, it's time to show, did I miss something? Am I really not dreaming? Guy and the others still think it's unreal. Just now, they were chased by those 7 people like bereaved dogs. But now, Asahi dealt with them so simply. They didn't even see how Asahi made his move. They only saw the 7 people slashed over with their swords, but they couldn't break Asahi's defenses, and then those people just disappeared. At this moment, Guy and the others are in a daze, but Asahi doesn't care about this. Now that his chakra has been returned, he naturally sealed all the other swords into the scroll directly. As for Same Harder, this thing seems to depend on Asahi now, and it seems to be alive, so he can't use the storage scroll to store it unless he seals it first. However, Asahi doesn't know how to use seal, so he just carried Same Harder on his back temporarily. This thing is still somewhat useful to him, of course, it's just barely. When his power exploded, this thing would be rubbish. It is estimated that he would only use it once before discarding it directly. Asahi feels that there are no weapons in this world that can withstand his full power. The weapon created from truth-seeking ball may be possible, but he can't make that stuff, so it's better to use his fists. Just when Asahi collected his loots and planned to end those 7 people, a figure with a green jumpsuit flashed from a distance. Asahi saw that this person is Guy's father, Might Dewey. In the original plot, he should have met the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, and then opened the 8th gate to kill 4 of them. Guy, are you all right? After seeing his son, Dewey was overjoyed, and then he rushed to the front of Guy and the others. Dad. Why are you here? Guy looked at his father with a confused expression. He thought about Konoha's reinforcements coming to help them before, but Konoha's people didn't appear, and instead, the ones who helped them is their ally, Iwagakure. As for Dewey, Guy would have never thought that his father would come here to rescue them by himself. No one else can come out, so I'm here, but isn't the enemy the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist? Where are they? Dewey was a little stunned when he saw that Asahi was the only one in the scene. He came to support because someone ran back first, otherwise, he wouldn't have known that the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist had attacked his son's team. But what made him felt disdain is that after hearing that the enemy are 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, the guys in the camp gave up the rescue. Anyway, it was only a few Knin who are chased. Those 7s are claimed to be able to defeat kid-level expert when they are working together, so they are just delivering food if they come there. Therefore, Dewey had no choice but to come over by himself. Those 7 people have been defeated by Asahi-senpai. By the way, Asahi-senpai is from Iwagakure, our ally. Guy was afraid that his father would confuse Asahi as one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist and then killed after trying to attack him, so he felt that he must make it clear quickly. Asahi. Iwagakure. Ally. So, the crisis is over. Dewey's face became a little strange. This time, he came here with the determination to die. He has already opened the 6th gate at this moment, but now, Guy's words make him very speechless. After all, he was determined to die, but found that the problems had been solved. He felt his heart kind of itchy at this time. But since Asahi is an ally, there is no need for Dewey to continue to maintain the 8 gates technique, so he chose to stop using it directly, but after he stopped using it, the after effects came. Even in the late stage, Guy can't open the 6th gate without injury, and Dewey's physical fitness is much weaker than that of Guy in the late stage. So after closing the 6th gate, his breath becomes very sluggish and it is very difficult to stand at this moment. You must have used some kind of special secret technique just now. It is a very good secret technique to forcibly increasing your combat power, but unfortunately, the after effects are too strong and your basic strength is also weaker. However, with such a basic ability, to be able to master the secret technique to this level is indeed very amazing. To be honest, Asahi does admire these father and son. After all, how difficult is it to train 8 gates technique? It must be known that Lee was able to open the 5th gate in less than a year, but then, after a few years, during the 4th Shinobi World War, he was only able to open the 6th gate. The later the stage is, the more it takes time to master it, and Dewey, who usually only has genin level strength, has spent 20 years practicing this technique to the extreme. It can be seen how terrifying his perseverance is, and for this kind of person, to be honest, if Asahi can dig them, he certainly not be polite, but it is too difficult to dig a passionate person like Dewey. If he wanted to poach him, it won't happen unless everyone in Konoha betrayed him, but this probability is too small, so it is almost impossible. After exchanging a few words with Dewey, Asahi found the 7 people, but at this moment, some of them are already dead, and some of the stronger ones are still alive, but they have also been eliminated by Asahi directly. Not surprisingly, there shouldn't be any new 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist in the future, unless Kirigakyo can create a new 7 special ninja swords, but it should be unlikely, otherwise, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist won't be called 7, and their crowd would have long since become a group of hundreds. Is it because of the kill? These 7 people actually pushed the percentage to 10%. Asahi was a little amazed. Even if these 7 people teaming up, they would only have kid level strength, but maybe it was because of the kill, as the improvement was much better. It seems that killing Jnin would also increase the percentage, but it is a bit less. Thinking of this, Asahi shook his head again, thinking that it was unlikely. When he was on Kumogakyo battlefield, he killed a lot of Jnin, but there was no increase in the percentage. Sure enough, the one I fight must be a talented person with outstanding strength and reputation. After almost figuring out this mechanism, Asahi is still focused on Kirigakyo at this moment. Now that the percentage of his power mastery has reached 10%, he is also a super expert at night. He didn't dare to say too much, but at night, even if he met kid level experts, he can easily kill them. After killing the 7 people, Asahi did not take away their bodies, as there was no need for him to do that. He didn't need such credit, and no one would rob him of his credit. After that, Asahi went to Konoha's camp with Dewey and the others, as Iwagakyo's camp is right next to Konoha's camp. After the Kumogakyo's incident, Konoha trusted Iwagakyo to the extreme. How can they still doubt Iwagakyo? Moreover, after Iwagakyo arrived here, they have also helped Konoha relieve the pressure. To be honest, the pressure on Jiraiya's side is much greater than that on Tsunegakyo's side. Minato and the others were there on Tsunegakyo's side, but Jiraiya's side didn't have many strong people, which made him quite uncomfortable. Even with 2 big clans here, his side was still a little passive. Because of that, Iwagakyo's arrival helped him a lot. Creators' thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 3 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 34. Chapter 34 deliberately expose. Although Asahi didn't take about the corpses, Bai and the others still collected all the 7 people. Asahi seemed to be too lazy to take care of everything, but they had to take care of the miscellaneous matter. After all, he has saved their lives. After that, everyone rushed back to the Konoha's camp. When everyone learned that all 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist had died, and they were killed by the legendary Asahi, Iwagakyo's current number 1 expert, they were shocked. Asahi's name has spread throughout the entire Shinobi world. After all, he conquered a village by himself. In history, only Hashirama and Madara had done such a thing. As for the others, when they are facing the siege of a Shinobi army, they would either ran away or died after besieged. Asahi's arrival was soon spread to the ears of the big clans in Konoha's camp. All the important characters in the camp came out. As mentioned before, Asahi is almost certain to become the next Sashikage. Coupled with his tyrannical strength, and Iwagakyo is also an ally, it is natural for them to come and get acquainted with him. Asahi, Dono, welcome to our Konoha's camp. Not long after he arrived, Asahi saw Jiraiya and the other higher-ups in the camp, but when Jiraiya called Asahi, his face became a little weird. No wonder his expression is like that, after all, Asahi is really weird. Although Konoha can't find information about Asahi's abilities, they could still find about his general information. But after finding out, they were collectively stunned, because Asahi is only a little over 10 years old, almost 11 years old, but how did he have such terrifying strength at this age? Is Kakashi a genius? He's talented enough to graduate at 5, become Knin at 6, and become Jnin at 12. This record basically crushed all the records in the entire Shinobi world, but what about Asahi? He was still less than 11 years old when he killed Sundame Raikage, and Kumogakyo didn't dare to speak up against him. They were so scared by him that they could only surrender and return to their village in despair. Now, he has even killed Kirigakyo's 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. In short, Jiraiya's eyes are full of doubt. After all, at this moment, Asahi is 2 meters tall and he is in an explosive state, so he is much taller than Jiraiya, and looks like a little giant. Jiraiya complained silently in his heart, is this guy really 10 years old? What did he eat to grow up so big like that? Asahi is considered his junior, so when he calls Asahi just now, it feels a little weird. You're welcome, Uncle Jiraiya, it's okay to call you that way, right? Asahi grinned. With his current age, it was indeed not a problem for him to call Jiraiya, but it made Jiraiya stunned for a while, but Jiraiya soon came back to his senses. Of course there no problem, then I will call you Asahi, after all, your age. Jiraiya said that. After pondering for a while, he couldn't make out a reason, and simply gave up. It is unbelievable that a 10 years old can grow up to be so big like this. It's not an intelligence error, right? At this moment, Hyuga Hisashi couldn't help but say such a sentence, after all, it was indeed a little too weird. Hisashi, don't talk about others behind their back, it's not good if it's heard. After all, we are allies now. Hyuga Hayashi also wanted to complain, but as the clan head of a big clan, he couldn't complain, so he could only hold back. If even he was puzzled, of course the others were also puzzled. Go inside the camp first, this is never a place to talk. Jiraiya invited Asahi to talk in the tent, but Asahi's height suddenly dropped a bit at this time. Asahi was on the road in the afternoon, so it was already past noon when he met the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Right now, his strength is at the weakening stage, but as his size has shrunken a bit, everyone who saw this was confused. It seems that we can't talk this time, so, can you tell me the direction of Iwagakyo's camp? Asahi glanced at the sky. It was getting late now, and the sun had already slanted west and it would soon set, so his strength had reached its weakest stage. It's just north, but you. Jiraiya wanted to inquire about Asahi's situation, but suddenly remembered that Asahi is not from his village, so he decided to shut up immediately. Thank you, then let's talk again when we have a chance next time. After Asahi finished speaking, he jumped into the sky directly and disappeared from everyone's sight. Is it some kind of Keki Genkai? Or is it a secret technique? Otherwise, how could he change so much in such a short amount of time? At this moment, Jiraiya is constantly thinking about Asahi's situation in his heart, as it is a bit too weird. Go and get all the information about Asahi from the start of the war to the present. After Jiraiya said that, he left. He planned to investigate Asahi's secrets. In fact, Asahi didn't think it was a big deal for them to discover his secrets. His secrets weren't hidden very much. Most people at Iwagakyo already knew that Asahi will become a tall and handsome man during the day, and he will return to his previous appearance at night. Most people think that this was caused by the activation of Asahi's Keki Genkai when he is fighting. But a small group of people who are interested will be able to guess Asahi's specific situation. For example, his Keki Genkai is related to time. After all, this world will never lack the kind of people who wanted to investigate the truth. And after everyone knew about his condition, Asahi would even deliberately expose his weakness in front of the enemy. Konoha is just a temporary ally, and would become Asahi's enemy sooner or later. Because of that, Asahi came here this time to deliberately expose his weakness. He also exposed them because he needs strong people to help him improve. Although he is not invincible at night, it is not much different from invincible, so the purpose he deliberately exposed his weakness in front of Jiraiya and others this time, is to let these people deliver themselves to him in the future. Without hostility, he won't improve even if he defeats someone, and it was the same for those who retreat without a fight, so he did such thing. Otherwise, he could just ask directly about the way to Iwagakyo's camp from Guy, and there is no need to expose his own weakness in front of Konoha. It will be said once again, Asahi cherishes his life much, and he does everything with purpose. After leaving Konoha's camp, Asahi came to the Iwagakyo's camp before his power was exhausted. He did not use his power during the night, as this is his hidden trump card. When the others determined that he didn't have powerful combat power at night, and Asahi suddenly activated his night power, that would definitely be a surprise among surprises. Therefore, Jin Yong does not intend to use this power now. On the Jiraiya side, he has already obtained a lot of Asahi's information, and then his analysis journey started. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugui. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am poor guy. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 35. Chapter 35 Jiraiya, I seem to have discovered some incredible secrets. After Konoha's continuous investigation, almost all of Asahi's basic information has been known, but no one has cared about it before. They only felt that Asahi was special, so he was cultivated by Onaki alone to become a super strong existence. But this time, Jiraiya, who saw Asahi weakening in front of him, learned about Asahi's information from beginning to end again, and in the end, he did find some clues. When he was young, the outbreak seemed to be uncontrollable, and when fighting with Reikage and the others, his strength seemed to be slowly increasing. Such thing has happened twice in a row. So, it's possible that his Keki Genkai is about time. A realization appeared inside Jiraiya's brain, but the information was still too little, and he needed more, so he sent people to go to Iwagakure with various reasons these days, for example, to discuss the battle plan, bringing some things to give condolences to the casualties of the war and so on. In short, he just finds any reason so that he can send people there. It's not that Jiraiya is petty, but he must find out Asahi's weaknesses. Jiraiya is actually very smart. Regardless of whether he is an ally or not, Jiraiya knows that the least valuable thing is a covenant. Didn't their village and Tsunegakure also have a covenant before? However, someone killed Sundame Kazekage, and Tsunegakure blamed it on Konoha without any evidence. They destroyed the covenant and started the war. Jiraiya knows very well that in the face of interests, that kind of thing is not much different from a piece of waste paper. Even the people in his own village cannot be completely trusted, let alone the other villages, so he must figure out Iwagakure's situation. After reading various sets of information for a period of time, Jiraiya obtained several key pieces of information, that is, Asahi will become a normal person at night, not much different from a normal 10-year-old kid. But in the morning, Asahi's body will change. After 9 o'clock, Asahi will often disappear, and then reappear at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This situation makes Jiraiya feel that something is very strange. However, when Asahi left in the morning, he moved too fast, so Jiraiya couldn't keep up with him at all. However, even if Jiraiya couldn't keep up with him, he could still determine the direction of where the other party went to, and then he sent someone to investigate. In the end, he got more important information. During the day, Asahi will explode with terrifying power when he arrives at his destination. Even the expert of Hyuga clan hidden in the distance will be terrified when they tried to get closer, but this power will disappeared after noon, and it was like this for several days in a row, and they would continue to approach and explore Asahi's previous location after he left. As a result, they discovered that Asahi's previous location had become a piece of scorched earth. Even at night, the ultra-high temperature had not completely dissipated, as if the flames were constantly burning the earth. Based on the information in hand and the information he collected, Jiraiya concluded a rule, that is, Asahi's power changes with time. From morning to noon, he will become stronger, and from noon to evening he will become weaker as time passed. Although he doesn't know if Asahi really has no combat power at night, but Jiraiya can be sure that Asahi must be in the weakest state at that time. It turns out that there is such a strange Keki Genkai in this world. That guy Onaki really hides it tightly. No wonder no spy can bring back useful information in the past. If this is the case, when it is daytime, no matter who comes, they will all die miserably. Jiraiya realized it, no wonder the people who were sent to investigate never returned. So this is the true reason. What else can they do besides deliver food to Iwagakure? Jiraiya feels that he has discovered the big secret, and Asahi is also a bit amused. With his improved strength, his perception is very strong. Even White Zetsu can't hide from him, let alone a member of the Hyuga clan. So he knew all about Jiraiya's careful thoughts. However, he is very satisfied with Jiraiya's action. Right now, he just needs Jiraiya to send the information back to the village. As long as Jiraiya sends the information back, Hiruzen will know it, and Danza will naturally know it too. Danza is not a kind person. He can even remove the people he felt dangerous from Konoha, let alone Iwagakure. Iwagakure has grown a bit powerful now, and Asahi is a powerful guy, so Danza will definitely do something. He indeed needs Onaki's help, but this is not really necessary, so Danza will not let Asahi go. In this way, Asahi will have a steady stream of experience packages delivered to his door, but the only pity is that what he needs are the famous ones, otherwise, no matter how many comes, they will all be useless. Just as Asahi thought, after investigating these information and getting this conjecture, Jiraiya verified it again for a while, and then he found that this was indeed similar to what he thought. The more he thought about it, the more reasonable he felt it is, so Jiraiya quickly passed back the information to Konoha. Ha 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 ha, that kid Jiraiya did a good job. He actually discovered the biggest secret of that Asahi. If he really doesn't have much combat power at night, it would be much easier to deal with him. After Hiruzen got this information, he was overjoyed. When Asahi defeated Kumogakure before, Hiruzen started to have a headache. With such a super talent in Iwagakure, how can their Konoha continue to exist? He is afraid that they need to bow down to Iwagakure in the future, so he has been thinking about finding a way to kill Asahi. But there was no clue at all. Even Sundame Reikage was killed and one of the 6 paths sacred treasures was destroyed. He really couldn't find a way, but Jiraiya gave him hope again. After that, Hiruzen sent this information to Danza. After all, he is not suitable to do this kind of sneaky thing. It is better to let Danza take care of it. Anyway, Danza is responsible for this kind of thing. After receiving this information, although Danza felt very disdainful towards Hiruzen, he still showed a dark smile. Send this news out, remember, I want the whole Shinobi world to know about it. Danza is not a fool, Asahi still has a lot of enemies, such as Kumogakure, as well as Kirigakure and Tsunegakure who hate Iwagakure the most now. He doesn't need to do it himself, and just needs to spread the news and watch the show from behind the scenes. Kumogakure has already been defeated, and Tsunegakure is following soon. At this time, he thinks it is suitable to weaken Iwagakure's combat power is weakened, as Danza thinks that Konoha will always be the final winner. As for the other villages, they can just go to hell. Creators' thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am poor guy. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 2 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 36, Chapter 36 being sold and then help to count the money. With Danza's help, the news spread throughout the Shinobi world, and Madara, who also got the news, was even more disdainful towards Asahi. Originally, he thought Asahi was nothing special, and now he knows that Asahi is a weak chicken at night, he is even more dismissive. At this moment, Kumogakure's higher-ups convened a meeting as soon as they got the news. Has already been regarded as the Yondaime Reikage, and no one refuted it. After all, he inherited his father's business and has the ability, and Kumogakure's cohesion is also very strong. Brother, is the source of this news reliable? You have also seen the strength of that monster. If the news is false, when we meet him again, it will be difficult to end it. Killer Bee said hesitantly. If the news was right, it would be nice as they could kill Asahi, but what if the news is wrong? At that time, it is unknown how Kumogakure would end. In the Shinobi World War this time, they are the first to lose. The Land of Lightning's daimyo was also very disappointed with Kumogakure and directly reduced the funding. They all had to tighten their belts to continue life. Their situation is very miserable. Don't worry, I don't know the source of this news, nor do I know whether it's true or false, but I know that someone will help us to test it. Right now, Kirigakure's 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist have been annihilated by that monster. How can Kirigakure left that monster alone? Kirigakure will definitely try to do something against him. At that time, we just need to watch and let Kirigakure help us find out the truth of this news. Is not an idiot. If Asahi really has such a weakness, then the whole Iwagakure's people will spare no effort to protect Asahi's life at night, so if Kirigakure wants to take Asahi in one fell swoop, it won't be a simple thing to do, and now that this news has spread everywhere, Iwagakure will definitely be on guard if this is true. After Kirigakure tested the water, their Kumogakure would act again. At most, they couldn't pay back the hatred. Anyway, they would not suffer. After a finished speaking, Killer Bee and the others also nodded. Right now, it is enough for them to wait and see, and they don't need to worry about other things. On the other side, both Tsunegakyo and Kirigakyo also got the news, and they were pleasantly surprised. Asahi's appearance was like a mudslide, ravaging everywhere. They originally couldn't take on Konoha, but now, they were suppressed even more miserably. So, if they can get rid of Asahi, the pressure will be much less than now. Even if they lose, they won't lose too badly, but Tsunegakyo has no power to target Asahi, so only Kirigakyo could take action. And if these three villages knew the news, Onaki naturally knew about it too. How on earth did that kid's secrets be exposed? Onaki's forehead was filled with cold sweat. What he was most afraid of was happening at this moment. Although Asahi said at the beginning, he would protect the village during the day and the village would protect him at night, but in case of an accident, wouldn't everything be gone? Therefore, he panicked. The panicked Onoki immediately used the summoned beast to send a message to the battlefield, and asked Konga to be the one responsible for protecting Asahi. He was wondering at this moment, whether he should go out or not. After all, there is still Tsunade in the village, and Tsunade is learning and improving rapidly, and she has become more and more handy in controlling a village. To be honest, Onaki believes that if Tsunade was Iwagakyo's people from the beginning, he would not hesitate to give Tsunade the Sushikige's position, but in the end, Tsunade has just joined their village halfway, so it was already very good to let Tsunade enter high-level position. How could it be possible to give this position to a newcomer? However, after seeing Asahi's reply, Onaki couldn't help but be blinded, because Asahi's reply was clearly written on it. He did it on purpose, and he had already mastered a small part of his power at night, so even if it was only a small amount of power, it is not something that everyone can handle. That brat, he secretly mastered his power without telling me, what a little bastard. When he saw this news, Onaki was relieved. Although he didn't know what Asahi planned to do, he completely trusted Asahi. After all, Asahi was more terrifying than him when it came to planning. At the same time, Asahi, who was far away on Kirigakyo battlefield, couldn't help but smile when he saw the message from Onaki. As expected, I did not misunderstand Konoha. When it comes to things in the dark, Konoha is still the first class among the first class. Now, I just need to wait for the experience package to be delivered. After burning the letter in his hand, Asahi simply went to rest. In fact, he took the initiative to expose this weakness mainly to target Konoha. Now that they're allied with Konoha, what he needs is Konoha to attack him. As for Kumogakyo, Kirigakyo and the others, he can just attack them himself. Anyway, things are going according to his expectations, so it's not a problem. Of course, there is also Jiraiya who knows about this matter. At this moment, Jiraiya is full of awkwardness. He has found out the news by himself, and he is sure that he should be the first to find out this secret. But why did it spread everywhere in a blink of an eye? I didn't remember that I have ever give this information to other people. In the end, Jiraiya could only look into the village. Jiraiya was indeed trying to guard against Asahi, that's why he tried to find this secret, but they are still allies now. And with Jiraiya's character, he will not take the initiative to betray anyone unless they betray him first. Now that Asahi's news was leaked, it made him very uncomfortable. He felt that he had betrayed his allies first, but he couldn't admit it, otherwise, Iwagakyo would go to war with Konoha directly. So he is kind of depressed right now. Of course, he doesn't know about Tsunade, otherwise, he will be even more depressed. In fact, Asahi plans to quickly end the matter of Kirigakyo, showing that he is very anxious, so that people believed that his secret has really been exposed, and then after taking care of Kirigakyo, he plans to go directly to Tsunegakyo battlefield. He also intends to dig Orochimaru, as Orochimaru is also a key point. Asahi knew that digging Orochimaru is definitely easier than digging anyone else. Orochimaru pursues eternal life and knowledge research. Although Asahi doesn't have the explanations for specific things like that in his mind, but there is still a general direction, which is enough to recruit Orochimaru. Therefore, Asahi has asked Konga to inform Jiraiya that he is ready to launch a total attack on Kirigakyo's army, and planned to directly take them down. After learning about Iwagakyo's decision, Jiraiya felt even more guilty. He wouldn't have expected that he had been used by Asahi, but he still felt guilty now. Jiraiya's performance is typical of being sold and then help to count the money. After being used by Asahi, he still felt sorry towards Asahi. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am poor guy. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 5 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 37. Chapter 37. Asahi is anxious. In fact, even if Asahi asked Konoha to notify Konoha, it was just a notice. At dawn, Asahi went directly to Kirigakyo alone and didn't bring people with him. After all, they are of no use at all during the war against Kumogakyo, except for shouting 666 at the back. T/N, 666 is a Chinese slang that means amazing, awesome, etc. Because of that, Asahi didn't bring anyone this time, and rushed to Kirigakyo's camp alone. Is there an extra sun in the sky? At Kirigakyo's camp, after Asahi came over, a shinobi found that there seemed to be an extra sun in the sky. No, it's the enemy, it's Iwagakyo's Asahi. Another shinobi was taken aback when he saw this scene, and immediately sounded the alarm. The entire Kirigakyo's camp was alarmed, and when Asahi, who is in the sky, saw this scene, he immediately threw the sun down from the sky. Water release, great waterfall technique. After seeing this scene, some Kirigakyo's chunin couldn't just sit still. Asahi's techniques are already well known to everyone, but they felt that they actually had some advantages. After all, if the amount of flame and water are similar, it is definitely the flame that suffers. But Asahi's flame is not just a simple flame. After the little sun fell and was blocked by the water made by the great waterfall technique, it suddenly exploded, and the water fell on the whole Kirigakyo's camp and turned into a storm. This guy actually came directly to the door. Is he really in a hurry? Then, the news must be true. Right now, Yondaime Mitsukage, Yagura is also there. In order to be able to contend against Konoha in a head-on war, he didn't care about his own face. Just like Tsunegakyo's Yondaime Keizukage, Rosa, who participated in the war from the very beginning. T/N, from what I know, Yagura only became the Mitsukage after the end of the war. So this may be something made up by the author too. However, the enemy is too abnormal. Even if they have many strong Kage level experts, they can't handle Jiraiya's Sage Mode. Although Jiraiya can't use Mount Mibaku's power to fight the war, he can still use Sage Mode himself. As long as the toad protects him, he can take some time to enter Sage Mode, and he does not need to stay in place to enter Sage Mode with the toad, as he can just ride them to run around. And the most irritating thing is that this guy can make hand seals with his feet. So others have no way to take him down, and once he enters Sage Mode, even if the power of the Baiju in Yagura erupts, he is still not Jiraiya's opponent. Moreover, there are also Uchiha, Hyuga and Konoha's other clans supporting him, so they still can't contend against Konoha. Now that Asahi came directly, it made Yagura almost 80% sure that Asahi would indeed become weaker at night, so now Asahi is anxious and attack Kirigakyo's camp directly, thinking to end this war early. Listen well everyone, we are good at water release, so just restrain him. As long we can hold on against him, it is enough if we can hold him here until the night. Yakyura has not experienced Asahi's horror. He feels that with all water release shinobi here, they can fight Asahi like a firefighter fighting against the fire, so he wants to delay for time. Yakyura didn't believe that he could not delay until the night with tens of thousands of people here. Hold me here. You are really amusing and confident. If you think you can, then just try it out. One after another, the small suns kept dropping, triggering terrifying explosions again and again, and the chakra of these shinobi were reduced because of the continuous use of water release, but Asahi's power was indeed constantly increasing. One person can hold tens of thousands and they can only defense passively, which showed what Asahi's perverted combat power can do. Asahi kept throwing big moves. And soon, Jiraiya, Konoha and the others arrived. Seeing Asahi's terrifying attacks that almost overwhelmed his opponents, Jiraiya couldn't help but take a deep breath. His strength is so terrifying. With the passage of time, Asahi's attack speed and attack power became stronger and stronger. Soon, the small sun in Asahi's hands turned into big sun. After seeing this scene, Konoha and others decisively ran away. After all, Asahi used this technique to blow up Sundame Reikage for half his life directly. Because of that, they didn't dare to stay here any longer. With the fall of the big sun, Kirigakyo's water curtain defense finally collapsed directly. This force was too huge and powerful. All of them used water release to resist Asahi's attack in batches, but it was useless. At this moment, Asahi, whose attack power soared, directly destroyed the defense of the tens of thousands of people. Not good. Water release, Isabu waterfall. Yakyura directly entered complete Baiju mode, and a huge amount of chakra controlled the water flow directly to fill the gap, blocking the flames and explosions from outside again, and the other Kirigakyo's Shinobi quickly used their water release too after they came back to their senses, no daring to let Asahi's attack fall. Yugura-sama, still a long time before noon. If we continue this way, we won't be able to hold it until dark and we will be killed by him. Mitsukichi's assistant said with a horrified expression. He never expected that even after they looked at Asahi with high enough regard, he found that they still underestimated him too much. The water release of tens of thousands of people could not withstand the other party's attack at all. This is tens of thousands of people, all of them are Shinobi, it's too exaggerated. When facing Kumogakyo, although Asahi looked terrifying, he did not directly fight against tens of thousands of people. Instead, he conquered Kumogakyo by defeating their experts. But now, one person suppresses tens of thousands at once. What kind of unbelievable scene is this? Can Kirigakyo really hold on? Jiraiya, who had retreated to a certain distance, was even more horrified when he saw this. He found that Asahi's energy was almost endless, as he kept throwing big moves like this. He couldn't handle such consumption even with Sage Mode, but Asahi managed to do this easily. It's like this kind of move didn't cost him anything. No matter what, even if we can't hold it now, we must hold on. Tell others that they don't need to save for the military ration pills, eat as much as they want, and restore their chakra as soon as possible. I don't believe that an entire Shinobi village can't stop this monster. Yugura, who has already transformed into Sanbi, feels that Asahi cannot continue to grow stronger no matter how awesome he is. He knew that it's just a guess when it is said that he grows stronger over time. After all, how could such a thing make sense? But Asahi is just this unreasonable. In the next second, two big suns fell, and this time, even if Sanbi joined, their defense was directly destroyed. As expected of tens of thousands of people, you managed to drag me for so long. It is even more difficult than fighting against Sundame Reikage. Asahi's height has already exceeded 3 meters at this time, and his body is burning with golden flames, which made him looks like a flame demon. The defense of these guys is indeed strong enough. Without using two big suns at once, it will take some time before I can completely break their defense. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 3 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 38, Kirigakyo surrender. Cough cough, damn monster, he shattered the defense of tens of thousands of people. Yugura has already left the complete Baiju mode. Of course, it was not he took the initiative to stop using it, but Sanbi was too cowardly. It can't be helped, facing Asahi at this moment, the strength gap is too big, and Sanbi has been beaten that he is scared to even come out. Yugura and the others were also injured. These two big suns not only pierced their defenses, but also wiped out the weakest thousands of people, and none of the others were intact, as all of them have many wounds on their bodies. Yugura, die or surrender, choose one. Asahi has already landed in front of Yugura at this moment. Yugura is now facing this demon-like existence. The flames on Asahi's body has high temperature, and the terrifying aura coming from Asahi gave him a feeling of suffocation, let alone it's still some time before noon now. Yugura suddenly felt that his behavior was a little ridiculous, as they couldn't even hold on until near noon. He even wanted to delay until noon. What a ridiculous idea, let alone noon. Asahi could already kill them all now. Okay. I choose to surrender. Our Kirigakyo surrendered. In the end, Yugura can only make this decision, otherwise, he has no doubt that all Kirigakyo's people here will die. Once these people here die, the entire Kirigakyo will be crippled. They won't be able to even compare to the small villages, let alone the other great Shinobi villages. He knew that by that time, the entire Kirigakyo will be eaten up by the other villages, and there will be no more Kirigakyo in the world. It's good that you understand in time. After Asahi squinted his eyes, his feet moved, and his whole figure disappeared into the sky. Now, he needs to find a place to put out the fire. After all, he used a lot of power this time, but it was still much better than when he dealt with Sundane Reikage, because he can now control 10% of his strength. Moreover, after defeating the entire Kirigakyo, his mastery has improved by a lot. In fact, Asahi had several ideas for leaving Yagura alive. First, he wanted to see if Yagura would dare to gamble and attack him at night, and the second was to keep his experience's source. Now, it depends on whether Yagura dare to gamble or not. At this moment, the power that Asahi can control has reached 20%. This is because he fought against the entire Kirigakyo's army all by himself. Asahi felt a little depressed at this moment. If I knew this before, I would have beaten all Kumogakyo's people to the ground. With that, I will not only get the experience provided by a few kid-level experts. However, 20% is already enough for him to use. Just Kirigakyo alone has given me 10%. If I fight against Konoha from beginning to the end, I will get at least 20 to 30%, right? Asahi now has an urge to fight with Konoha, but after thinking about it, he chose to discard such thought. He felt it's not worth it. Couldn't he just use the other villages to give him more experience? Even if he doesn't get as much as 10% for the second time, it will definitely still a lot. Moreover, there is still much time left, so he doesn't panic at all. Right now, what he needed for is the future, as the enemy will be troublesome to deal with. Not killing these people will give him enough experience and there's no need to fear being defeated by them. Once his mastery of sunshine reached 100%, and new power comes in, that will be the real invincibility. Of course, Asahi actually has an idea. Since Guy, who opened the 8th gate, can use his ultimate move to distort the space, then what about his full power? When he used Divine Spear before, he seemed to see that the space was distorted by him, which meant that the space of this world was not very strong. If he fully grasped this power, he might be able to break the space open with his own strength. Reaching the pinnacle of using force to break the space, if he can really do this step, he will not be afraid of Amanomineka and other space-type ninjutsu, and he will able to fight everyone head-on. He even doesn't take the truth-seeking ball seriously, as what he's most afraid of is the others trap him to death with spatial technique. Those kinds of technique are very troublesome, and the Amanomineka won't even need the user to touch the target. Just by standing within a certain range, they can teleport the target immediately. This is the most troublesome point. In this way, Asahi is thinking constantly, and noon soon passed. In the afternoon, Asahi went back to the camp. What he did made almost everyone sure that he, Asahi, really didn't have much fighting power at night, so this time, he was anxious. Because his weaknesses were exposed, he was very anxious to win this war to prevent accidents. Coupled with the supplements from the brains of these people, this created illusion was directly pushed to the peak. At night, Asahi found out that Yagura didn't send anyone over. It seemed that because he very ruthless during the day, it caused the other party shrunk back. It is estimated that if no one else fanned the flames, Yagura would not dare to do anything to him at night. Asahi just sighed and could only wait. He didn't believe that Kumogakyo's people could hold it back for long. After all, he killed the current Reikage's father. The hatred of killing his father is undeniable. So he just need to wait for Kumogakyo to exert their strength. At that time, other people will come and follow them directly. Asahi can just fight everyone that come to his door by himself, but this will inevitably lead to nowhere, which is not conducive to his later stage, so the best way is to let the others take the initiative to provoke him, and then he can exert his strength to get the other party. Kirigakyo has now surrendered. So at night, Konoha and Iwagakyo held a banquet together, but even though it was a banquet, the higher-ups on both sides still had some precautions. During the banquet, Asahi was eyeing Fugaku. If he wanted to dig the Uchiha clan, he could only start from Fugaku, and only he was worthy in Asahi's eyes. As for the other Uchiha clan's people, to be honest, he didn't care about them at all. He still doesn't know what Atakai's current situation is, whether he has already been led astray by Shisui or not, and how old they are, so Fugaku is his target. He quietly stuffed a small note to Fugaku. After all, there were so many people here, so he didn't dare to talk to Fugaku directly. He just stuffed a small note and asked Fugaku to come out to have a chat at night. The banquet didn't last long, mainly because the higher-ups of both sides watched each other's people with some precautions, so the people on both sides soon dispersed. When it was in the middle of the quiet night, a figure quietly came out of the Konoha's camp, and then disappeared into the night. This person is Fugaku, but he is not the real Fugaku, but just Fugaku's shadow clone. The shadow clone can pass what the clone has experienced back to his main body, so using shadow clone is the safest. At this moment, Fugaku is not calm at all, and it is because of the note Asahi gave him. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Pugwi. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 39, Digging the Uchiha Clan. X. After Fugaku returned to his camp, he opened the small note, and the content on the note was not much, only a little was written, but this little content made Fugaku flustered. As the above briefly described the conflict between the Uchiha clan and Konoha, and a little bit of information about Maingeki. Fugaku had already awakened his Maingeki, but it was only awakened during this war, so only a few of his confidants knew that he had awakened the Maingeki. So when this issue was mentioned, Fugaku panicked. Once Konoha knows this secret, Konoha will definitely take action against his clan. They will not let another powerful figure appear in Uchiha clan. This is Konoha's style. It can be said that in the eyes of Konoha's higher-ups, the Uchiha clan is sure to die. So after night fell, Fugaku let his shadow clone leave. Anyway, part of the patrol members in the camp are from their Uchiha clan, so it was easy to leave, and he also knew where the dead spots were. Soon, Fugaku, shadow clone, came to the agreed place. At this time, Konga and Asahi had been waiting here for a long time. Asahi wanted to come by alone, but Konga was worried that someone would attack him, so he came along. It turned out to be a shadow clone. It seems that Uchiha Fugaku is not stupid. After Konga saw Uchiha Fugaku, he knew he was just a shadow clone. After all, he was still a kid-level powerhouse no matter what. What exactly do you Iwagaku's Shinobi want to do? Also, what do you know? Although Fugaku was a little flustered, he can only talk honestly now. It looks like you're a little flustered, clan head Fugaku, but there's no need to panic. It's actually a good thing for you to meet us this time. You should be very clear about your position in Konoha, especially now that you have awakened the Maingeki Sharingan. Once Konoha knows about it, your Uchiha clan will be disposed. Asahi said with a smile, as if he was a fox, while Fugaku's face became more and more ugly. What the hell do you want to do? Fugaku glared at Asahi fiercely. He couldn't figure out how his secrets were leaked. Could it be my confidants? But it is impossible. It's very simple. Konoha can't tolerate your Uchiha clan, but our Iwagakure can. Our Iwagakure welcome talents, so you should understand what we plan to do. It's impossible for the Uchiha clan to leave Konoha. Fugaku couldn't help but sucked in cold breath after hearing Asahi's words. He even thought about poaching our Uchiha clan. To be honest, he was very interested, but he still didn't know the specific situation of the other party. After all, what if the other party intends to kill them? When the time comes, the Uchiha clan will not only bear the name of traitors, but will also be wiped out all at once, which is worse than staying in Konoha. You don't need to be so guarded, clan head Fugaku. I know your Uchiha clan very well, more than you. I also know what Konoha intends to do against you. Whether it is Danza or Hiruzen, they will not let you guys go. Since Senju Tobirama, because of his hatred of Uchiha Madara, the Uchiha clan has been madly suppressed. As the clan head, you are also very clear and helpless, right? Konoha pushed the Uchiha clan to the edge of the village and separated you from the others. In addition, they gave your Uchiha clan a position as security team. In your Uchiha clan, I only look up at a few people, one of them is you. You are a little sensible, unlike the others. Those guys still rely on the halo of your ancestors, but they didn't know that they were pushing themselves into the abyss step by step. As the clan head, you must be very tired. I also don't expect to convince you directly. I will give you a way to contact us. If there's no surprise, in a few years at most, Konoha's people will take action against your Uchiha clan, and wipe out your Uchiha clan. At that time, you can ask our Iwagakure for help, and the door of our Iwagakure will always be open to you. You are here tonight as a shadow clone, so I will send someone to give it to you later. You are a smart person, so you must know what to do later. I don't need to say anything, right? Asahi said a lot, but his meaning is also very clear. He does not need the current Uchiha clan. If you are guarded against me, it's okay, I don't care. But if you wait until you have to come and beg me, then you will have no initiative at all. By the way, I almost forgot to tell you something. For your Uchiha clan, I only like rational people. As for the kind of arrogant, proudful, old-fashioned, and brain-disabled guys, I don't need it. You'd better confirm this part after you go back. I only accept rational people, and I don't need mad dogs in our village. Also, you'd better keep your son and Uchiha Shisui from getting too close. Uchiha Shisui is different from the other Uchiha, so you better be careful. Don't let your son be brainwashed. That's all, you can go back now. After Asahi left the last two sentences, he left with Konga, while Fugaku's face was constantly changing, and he finally turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared. At this moment, Fugaku, who is lying in his tent with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. What a strong persuasive power, as well as the control of the situation, as if all of things are within his grasps. If that day really comes, maybe I can only make that choice. After Fugaku digested the information brought back by the shadow clone, his face changed several times, and then he smiled helplessly. Few people in his clan could see his status clearly, but an outsider actually analyzed the situation so clearly, which is a bit too incredible. But he is indeed moved. At this moment, Fugaku has made a decision, and now, it depends on Konoha's choice. If Konoha really intends to annihilate them, or the Uchiha clan is really hopeless, he will choose the ones that can still be saved. As for his son, he couldn't help but feel anxious when he thought of this. He knows who Shisui is. He is close to Konoha's faction. So if he really let this guy brainwash his son, he might cause a mess, so Fugaku felt that he had to take care of this matter immediately. Creator's thoughts. I am Pugwi. Support me at Patreon. https://www.pat*korean.com/I am Pugwi. Remove the asterisk. There are more than 100 chapter there. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 40, The Surging Shinobi World. Are we going to ignore the Hyuga clan? On the way, Konga looked at Asahi and asked. What happened to the Senju clan proves Asahi's ability, and he estimated that the Uchiha clan would come under their wings later, but what about the Hyuga clan? The Hyuga clan is more troublesome. It's not time yet. I need to the village to finish study the caged bird for me first, and then I will conduct some experiments. If my experiment works, then there will be bargaining chips at that time. And the time has not yet come. Asahi shook his head. Before. In front of Konga, he said a lot of secret things, like Fugaku's Mangeki, but he didn't care, and Konga was also very smart, so he would not ask, and left everything to Asahi. Right now, Asahi represents the entire Iwagakure, and even Onaki, Konga and the others are the supporting him from behind. The entire Iwagakure revolves around Asahi, so Konga will not ask about these things. As for the Hyuga clan, one of the reasons is that the method to remove the caged bird has not been obtained yet, and the other reason is that Asahi is waiting for an opportunity. When Kumogakure kidnapped Hinata, that will be the time to dig them. Coupled with the method to remove the caged bird, Asahi is almost 100% sure that he can dig the Hyuga clan. He also didn't need too many people from the Hyuga clan. Once he helped the people in the branch house to remove their caged bird, the other party will treat him as their savior, and he would get them all without much trouble. As for the people from the main house, he only needs Hayashi, and the others can just go away. He doesn't need those arrogant and very uncontrollable guys to exist. Of course, maybe he can just give them caged bird to control them. After chatting with Konga for a while, Asahi went to rest. It was basically certain that Konoha's 3 great clans would be poached, and Asahi was almost done with what he had to do. Then it's the other people's turn next. People like Orochimaru are also one of the targets. As for Jiraiya, he will definitely not be able to dig him, unless Hiruzen is dead and Danza is the one controlling Konoha. In that case, he can dig Jiraiya, but before Hiruzen is dead, Jiraiya and the father-son, Guy and Dewey are hard-hearted Konoha's die-hard, the existences that cannot be persuaded at all. The night passed quickly. Because Fugaku figured out these things, he couldn't fall asleep and suffered from insomnia all night, while Asahi was sleeping soundly, without care of everything. Now that Kirigakyo has been defeated, Asahi handed over the negotiation to Jiraiya and the others. After all, the main battlefield is theirs, but Iwagakyo has exerted such a great effort this time, so the resources must be given to Iwagakyo too. In order to prevent Tsunegakyo from being taken down by Konoha so quickly, Asahi asked Konga to take their men directly to Tsunegakyo battlefield. Tsunegakyo is too weak, and Asahi has no doubt that they will be taken down soon, so he must race against time. There are 2 reasons for this. One is that these guys are experience packs, and the other is that he has to dig Orochimaru. If they are defeated directly, then he can only wait for other opportunities in the future. So Iwagakyo's large army moved in the direction of Tsunegakyo. Asahi didn't worry that Tsunegakyo would surrender directly. They won't do that. They probably would go to find other Shinobi villages to deal with Asahi. After all, Asahi is now the key point to victory or defeat. The defeated Kumogakyo and Kirigakyo were not hurt very badly. So once Asahi is taken down, they will still have a chance of comeback. Asahi feels that with Rosa's personality, he should not be directly affected and surrender in fear. And the news of him defeating Kirigakyo's army soon spread to the entire Shinobi world. In this world, intelligence is always faster than people. The day after the information about his weakness came out, he attacked Kirigakyo's army directly. From the looks of it, at least most of this is true. Even if he doesn't completely lose his combat power at night, he wouldn't be too strong. Send people to Kirigakyo, get some support from Kirigakyo, and ask them to send all their powerhouses. And also, contact Tsunegakyo and ask them to resist as long as they can. No matter what, as long as we arrive in time, we will join forces to kill that monster Asahi, then everything will be reversed. After looked at the information on his desk, he immediately sent people to contact the 2 parties, planning to join forces with them to target and kill Asahi. At that time, the 3 of them would be the final winners. Before their defeat, Kumogakyo had some connections with Kirigakyo and Tsunegakyo, so it is very easy to communicate with them, and Yugura is also very unwilling to admit defeat. He has not forgotten what Asahi showed, so he also thinks that Asahi doesn't have any combat power at night, otherwise, he won't have brought a large army to Tsunegakyo battlefield. So he believed that the large army is responsible for escorting him. After all, if Asahi still has combat power at night, then the other Iwagakyo's army are actually just a burden, but no matter where Asahi goes, Iwagakyo's army would follow him, but besides following behind and shouting 666, what other things can they do? If someone said that these people were not there to protect Asahi, Yugura wouldn't believe it even if he was killed. Therefore, Yugura surrendered on the surface, but he directly allied himself with Yondaime Reikage, and sent the powerhouses from his village to Tsunegakyo battlefield. At the same time, Tsunegakyo's Rosa once wanted to give up after knowing that Asahi had brought people to come here, but he was unwilling. After all, he was the one who started this war. Even if it's okay to give up, when the time comes, his regime will be shaken. He might even become the shortest reigning Kazekage in Tsunegakyo's history, and he will become the biggest laughingstock in the whole Shinobi world. However, just when he wanted to give up but was not unwilling, the message from A came, which gave him greater confidence. Now, he just needs to hold on, and drag these people over to kill Asahi. After killing Asahi, they can completely reverse the current disadvantage. Kazekage, what should we do now? Although Reikage has already said that they will come, Asahi will definitely come before them. When the monster comes over, it will be a question of whether we can last a day. Ibizo and Kyo are both helpless. Although there is hope, it is still very difficult for them to resist. If we can't hold on, we will just retreat. Even if Konoha's people can break into our Tsunegakyo, it will be worth it. In addition, bring that guy Bunpyuku out, it is his turn to do his best, even if he run berserk. Rosa was betting his last bit of chips, and brought out the uncontrollable Bunpyuku. The current Bunpyuku could run berserk at any time, but Rosa is already doing anything for his own victory.